Good evening, Weather Nod meteorologist Evan Hatter here with a check of things as we are starting to see a little bit more active weather starting to push into the Wobbles region here this evening. You're probably, if you're in Bowling Green, you're noticing a lot of thunder and lightning with these storms that are continuing to push on through the region. What's in Warren County right now, Edmonson County, even over into Barron County out toward Glasgow. That is not severe. Neither is what's moving through the southern parts of Logan County right now, nor into parts of Simpson County. None of that is severe, but we are hopping back on because we are noticing a storm off to the north and west of Butler County into portions of Ohio County that is starting to give us a little bit of concern, not necessarily with the potential for rotation, but more with the potential for some very strong winds. Severe thunderstorm warning is not yet in effect for Butler County, but it is in effect just to the north of Morgantown for Ohio County. This is an area we do not need to see any more severe weather today. We already saw several instances of very large hail pushing through the region. So I know folks are hopping on right now and just checking in really quickly. We are hitting Facebook yet again because we are watching the potential for some more strong to severe thunderstorm action to move in. So for those of you who are maybe just popping in here, we've kind of gone over it a little bit, but we're watching mainly one storm into portions of Ohio County. It's coming right down I-165, the old Natcher Parkway, and moving into Butler County here over the next little bit. Now, what's in Edmonson County right now, south of Brownsville, what's moving through Glasgow right now, and what is pushing into portions of Warren County right now is not severe. However, we are watching this particular area of heavy weather. This is pushing into southern parts of Ohio County and into portions of Butler County at this point. And you can see, in fact, we will take our Beach Tree News Skycam out of Morgantown full really quickly, and you will see exactly what we're dealing with as that thunderstorm begins to move in as we continue to watch this push on through. The reason that we are hitting Facebook is this is an area that's been hit hard by strong to severe thunderstorms already today, and we don't need to see any more of that, but we are getting the indication of that potential as we move into portions of Ohio County just to the northwest because of what we're seeing there. Just checking a couple of things here as we continue to watch that push on through. Another vantage point of this, you can really see as that starts to push into portions of, this is moving into Butler County. We're kind of giving you Butler County next in line here as this continues to move toward the northern portions of Butler County. We may be able to escape this, but the northern parts of Butler County have really seen the heaviest of the weather if this continues to push on through. So, where is this thunderstorm? Well, let's put the radar back on the screen and we'll show you exactly where it is right now. We're watching some heavy weather north of Dunmore as we head just outside of Wobbles here, but that'll push in here shortly south of Rochester near Belton. That's in Muhlenberg County. That'll start to push east over the next little bit. But the reason that we're a little concerned with this storm, not only because it's already running into an area that saw plenty of severe weather earlier on today, but because we are watching a little bit of what we call a Boeing segment, okay? We're seeing that push of wind already with this particular thunderstorm. This is still not in Butler County, but we're trying to give you kind of a little bit of lead time here with this particular storm as this continues to work on into Butler County. Now, what we've been watching is, I'm looking up, at the latest from the National Weather Service. What we've been watching so far over the last little bit is we had those several supercells that worked through the area. What that did a little bit, at least, was work over the atmosphere. So we were able to get those more storms that started to work in from the west really started to dive into where the moisture was best and the fuel was the best, and that was in Middle Tennessee, where it sounds like we've had a confirmed large tornado south of Nashville a little bit earlier on tonight. We have had no confirmed tornadoes in our region today, but we have had quite a bit of very heavy rain, and so quite a bit of hail as well. I know folks maybe in Bowling Green, in Brownsville, and Glasgow saying, what about what's going on here? None of this is severe, but the only thing I would say, we're going to have to watch these areas, especially Smiths Grove and Glasgow up to Cave City. That was a really heavy thunderstorm that moved through a little bit earlier on today, dropped some hail in that area. We may be looking at a flooding situation trying to develop. Parts of the region under flood advisories. Let me check here. We've got one for Allen and Barron counties through 9:15. We've got one for just double checking here. We've had a lot of advisories come out today. Butler and Edmonson County through 11:30, and we also had one, I believe, come out for. Oh, I've lost it, but I believe Warren County is in one as well. There have been so many products issued by the Weather Service today. Either way, the potential is there for some very heavy rain, but none of this is severe. We're seeing a couple of lightning strikes, but this area has been pretty worked over. I'm not too concerned in the short term about severe weather for this area. Same goes as you head north of Adairville into southern parts of Logan County and into Simpson County as well, and even extending a little bit into portions of Allen County west of Scottsville. That should continue to lift northward toward the south side of Warren County, so that should come up 65. So Woodburn, Rockfield, Alvaton, we're looking at the potential for some heavier rain, but nothing too severe, at least at this point. What we're on Facebook for is this area of potentially strong to damaging winds that's going to be trying to push into the northern parts of Butler County here over the next really 5 to 15 minutes or so. There is no formal warning out for Butler County, but we do have the potential to see winds in excess of 60 miles per hour just to the west. Hopefully we can get that to start to weaken a little bit, because this is an area that has been quite worked over, and it is something we'll watch. Just checking to see if we have any statements from the Weather Service, and we do not at this point. But you can really see some of the view from the west. Let's pull the Morgantown camera up again, and you will see just how turbulent the atmosphere is ahead of this thunderstorm, and it's something we will continue to watch over the next, let's say 10 to 15 minutes as this storm pushes in. Right now, there are no formal warnings of any type for the Wobbles community. We're just hitting Facebook to let you know about the threat of this storm as it will shortly push into Butler County over the next few minutes. It does look like it's starting to weaken a tad, and that is good news. If we can get it through Butler County and into parts of Edmonson County without a warning over the next little bit, and it looks like it'll weaken off, we'll hop back off of Facebook and wait for the next line of storms that continues to gather out to the west to eventually try to push into the region. There's actually one cluster near Madisonville, another little supercell trying to get up going there between Mayfield and Benton, and then we've got this big-time cluster of storms into portions of southern Illinois. Tornado warnings out there. We'll see how well that holds together, in addition to what's getting going from Springfield down to Fayetteville as that continues to push on in. So we're not done with this by any stretch of the imagination, but the heavy weather has left us alone for at least a little bit. Now, looking at this from Nashville, you can really see the potential for a little bit more in the way of some strong winds or even some small hail right on top of Cromwell. That's into portions of Ohio County. It's just on the other side of Butler County, so we need to watch that as it continues to push on to the east and to the south and east. Right now, still no official warnings or anything for portions of Butler County, but we will need to watch as we head through the evening. Some folks asking, is Bowling Green clear of any serious threat? We still have several rounds to go. I realized I had the Morgantown camera up there for a little too long, so let's back on out. What's moving through right now is not currently severe. That's a tornado warning further off to the east, so we don't need to worry about that. But we will need to keep a close eye on things that are happening a little bit further closer to WABBLES. Let me double check. That's Adair, Casey, Russell, and Taylor. So that's out toward the Campbellsville area and pushing out toward Liberty, north of Columbia. But the issue here is going to be what's trying to come down the Natcher Parkway right now. Even the potential for some large hail north of Oak Grove. That's in Ohio County as we head over the next little bit. We will continue to keep an eye on storms that are pushing into like we were talking about, we have another little cluster of storms now pushing. It's now warned into portions of, and that's going to be Hopkins County and Muhlenberg County over the next couple of minutes here, north of Hopkinsville, and then further back out to the west. More cells trying to get going out towards far west Kentucky, out in the Jackson Purchase area. And then we still have a whole big line to go. We'll see just how much our earlier storms have impacted this environment as we head through the evening hours. But in any case, we are still watching that potential for more storms to push in, especially as we head towards 10, 11, even 12 o'clock tonight. We are not quite done with this yet. Still nothing on the severe side from this storm into Ohio County, moving into Butler County. It looks a little bit more impressive from the Nashville radar site, which tells me that some of this is likely not, some of the heaviest wind is probably not reaching the ground. If we can get this through Butler County without an intense a push of wind, then we may be able to hop off of Facebook, let you get back to enjoying your Wednesday evening here. But just know we're not done yet, even though we are still seeing the lightning and the thunder from Glasgow to Smiths Grove and further into the southern portions of Edmonson County. We will continue to watch this particularly heavy thunderstorm, which is now no longer severe warned, into portions of Ohio County. I believe that warning expired at... Well, it had to have expired there at 6:45, so that will continue to push on to the east, and we'll keep an eye on this over the next little bit. Thought we'd just give you an update here. We are still watching this cluster that is pushing into Butler County and into the Madisonville area that could eventually start to work into Logan and Butler County again as we head into the next little bit or so, while we keep an eye on things over the evening hours. Still, like I said, we have everything to go through further on to the west into portions of southern Illinois, where you see several tornado warnings in effect into southern Illinois. We get a little bit of a break there west of Cape Girardeau, and then even more storms trying to form from east of Springfield to down toward Fayetteville. So we're not quite done yet, but I do think we'll start to keep an eye on things a little closer to home here over the next little bit. So we do have, let's see here, nothing from this particular storm just yet, but we have noticed a bit of an uptick in lightning with this, and that could very well indicate that this storm may be trying to strengthen, with potentially some smaller hail right as it crosses near Oak Grove and Cromwell into Butler County. And again, we'll show you the look of things from Butler County. This is a wicked looking shot, but this is mostly just what we call scud clouds, just some low level cloudiness coming in there from the Morgantown Skycam, looking full, our Beach Tree News Skycam out of Morgantown. Nothing is currently severe. We do have a tornado watch running through 9 o'clock, so we've got about another couple of hours on that. But we're not quite completely all the way done with this severe weather threat. I wouldn't be shocked if we extended that watch a little bit later on tonight, but that will be up to the fine folks at the Weather Service office in Louisville. So we've hit the air because we're looking at this little area of potentially strong to severe wind as it's pushing through parts of and now into Butler County officially over the next little bit. We'll try to at least get this through Morgantown before we, should it not strengthen and start to weaken before we hop back off. But something to still keep an eye on from Cromwell further on to the south as we just now cross into far western Butler County, and even another little cell getting going there south of Rochester. So we're not quite done with this round yet. You can kind of see that backward C shape as we try to push the wind out, and that could obviously equal some potentially damaging wind gusts. So Provo, Logansport, Mining City, Gilstrap, Eden over the next 5 to 10 minutes. That is where we will watch the potential for at least 40 to 50 mile per hour winds. We do not have a warning out on this anymore, but still something to watch out for. If you know anybody traveling on I-165 or the Natcher over the next few minutes, tell them to maybe pull off in Morgantown, give it a few minutes, let this one go by before they start to work on through. Again, getting dark in Eden, we see some of that here on the Beach Tree News Skycam out of Morgantown. Going back to the radar, and you do see plenty of, well, darkening skies out to the west. You can still see the Morgantown Skycam up above me. We've got the White Squirrel Weather Nest Cam, and valuable resource for us from our partners at White Squirrel Weather and WKU Meteorology. And then above that is the Beach Tree News Skycam out of Morgantown. And again, just watching these little areas, these little pushes potentially of some stronger wind, and occasionally when you get something like this, you can get a quick spin up. I'm not saying we're seeing any of that right now, but that's still something to watch over the next little bit. I'm going to switch products here. We've been looking at the rainfall. We call the rainfall the reflectivity. Let's switch over to the velocity, and you can see it is not very impressive at all, which is a good sign in that we have seen too much severe weather across northern Butler County so far today, but we are at least seeing not the brighter colors, which is a good sign that we're not dealing with too strong winds. But we need to watch, especially these little areas that start to kind of do this. They start to get a little wiggly, and we'll need to keep an eye on that into the northern parts of Butler County over the next few minutes or so as this storm continues to push on through. So we will continue to keep an eye on this as it pushes north of Morgantown over the next few minutes. Maybe folks asking about further eastern portions of Wobbles. Now we're pushing storms out of Bowling Green for the moment, but Smiths Grove along 65, Smiths Grove back toward the Oakland exit, and out towards Pondsville, getting some heavy rain, some thunder and lightning, nothing severe here. Same thing as you head up toward Park City, where we've seen some large hail today. Same thing, Cave City, northern parts of Barron County right now, seeing quite a bit of heavy rain, thunder and lightning. Iceville was another area we saw plenty of hail a little bit earlier on today. So again, keeping an eye on this storm. Other storms further south, not even much lightning on this storm near Franklin. It's still watching up 231 near Scottsville there. A few lightning strikes near Pope. And some of that is sneaking into far southern parts of Warren County, Boyce and Drake, and out toward Woodburn. But nothing currently severe at this point. And that area is starting to flatten out a little bit at this point. So you see some folks asking about Morgantown. Well, here comes this storm as it pushes into Morgantown, and you can really see the roll, the little shelf cloud pushing out ahead of the wind on this. As we bring it full screen, you can see our Beach Tree News Skycam with that kind of push on through the region. And we now do have a severe thunderstorm warning in place now for the northern parts of Butler County and into Edmonson County. This runs until 7:45 this evening. So we will be with you as this is now a severe thunderstorm. This warning does not include Morgantown, but it does include Brownsville at this point. Further down the line, this is in effect until 7:45. Also includes adjacent areas of Ohio County and into the adjacent parts of Grayson County there. Those two counties are outside of Wobbles, but close enough that we'll need to keep an eye on it over the next little bit. Let's bring the radar back on the screen. You can see the polygon here. This is for areas from Caneyville down to Morgantown, and from where we are there in eastern Ohio County toward Brownsville. This, for most of us, is concerning the northern parts of Butler County. Logansport, Gilstrap, and Eden kind of pushing on through at this point. Dexterville, Welcome, and Eden all coming up there as well over the next little bit. Eventually out toward Welch's Creek, Holdeville, Brooklyn, Aberdeen. This is pushing in your region as well. And not only are we watching the possibility for hail the size of quarters and winds to gust upwards of 60 miles per hour, this storm has what's called a tornado possible tag on it, which means the National Weather Service is seeing just a hint of rotation that could lead to a quick spin-up tornado. I know some folks in the comments are saying they've heard some scanner traffic. I have not seen anything. We're looking at the storm. In fact, let me switch you back, and you can see this storm is pushing right on through right now into Morgantown at the moment. And you can see, I'm not seeing anything that would give me indications of rotation, but we are seeing that low kind of cloud base as that pushes on out and brings us the potential for some very heavy rain and damaging winds in excess of 60 miles per hour. The most severe part of the storm just north of downtown Morgantown, but our Beach Tree News Skycam capturing that rain shaft, that is a technical term, heading in our direction over the next little bit or so. Looking at the velocity behind the scenes, I'm not seeing too much, and this is the... Which radar am I looking at? I'm looking at Hopkinsville. You're looking at the Beach Tree News Skycam as we watch that storm push into downtown Morgantown at this point. Let me switch radars here and see exactly what we're dealing with. There may be a little bit of that rotation there north of Aberdeen, and we'll continue to watch this push through. I don't believe anything... I don't see anything that would give me pause at this point to say, well, we've got something trying to form there into portions of Butler County, but it is something we will continue to watch. Let's show you the velocity picture at this point in time, and you can see areas that we could see maybe a little bit of rotation east of Aberdeen. Right in there is where we might run into a little bit of rotation. We've heard some rumors, some scanner traffic that says maybe somebody saw a funnel. It's usually not good enough unless we can get some. Unless you can safely send us those pictures, let us know. But at this point, I'm not looking at anything that is particularly concerning from that point of view. The main threat with this is going to be the potential for winds in excess of 60 miles per hour along the front edge of this, which is snaking from far southeastern Grayson County into Butler County and then kind of working on through places like Aberdeen and Morgantown. And we're looking at the heavy rain. There you see it above me. We've switched out the White Squirrel camera for the Reed Dossey House camera out of Brownsville. That's looking off to the north and east at this point. But either way, we continue to keep an eye on things as it pushes on to the east and the southeast at, I believe, let me get the speed on this. This is pushing off to the south and east at 30, or at the east, I should say, at 35 miles per hour. So we'll switch it back to the rainfall mode, and we'll show you, we'll put a track on this. You see it has bumped up a little bit in intensity, and we're looking at it a little bit higher up as well from the Nashville radar, so we can see that potential. But let's go ahead and put a track on the strongest part of this storm as it pushes to the east at 35 miles per hour, taking it through the rest of this warning. Would put it into places like Black Gold and Bee Spring over the next little bit. Casey, I know you've been hit very hard with hail earlier on today by 7:01. Not sure what the issue there is. We've got the Central Time check, but that's going to be 7:01 Central Time. Brooklyn by 7:05. Grantser by 7:07. As we head towards Big Reedy by 7:18. Sunfish by 7:24, excuse me. Huff by 7:25. Black Gold by 7:28. Bee Spring by 7:32. And if these names look familiar, if you were with us earlier, you know that these are the similar areas that have already been hit with extremely heavy rain and some large hail already through the day today out there through this evening. Sweden by 7:33 and into Ridgedale by 7:34. Tracy says she's out in Casey County. That's way outside of Wobbles, and hearing the tornado sirens, and indeed the tornado warning is in place way out east of Wobbles into portions of Casey County out toward Campbellsville. Not much of our concern over the next little bit. You zoom out, you see that warning, but the heaviest precipitation, the heaviest storm in our region so far is into portions of Butler County and eventually into Edmonson County as well, in north of Morgantown, but we'll continue to push on to the east at 35 miles per hour. Putting the velocity back on again, nothing gives me concern for anything at the moment. Maybe one of the things we have to watch out for in these scenarios is a very quick spin up, and the problem with these is they can happen very fast. But usually between radar scans. We usually get these scans in every couple of minutes, and occasionally it can happen so fast that it's actually in between the scans. And that can be an issue because we can't really warn on them. That's why the Weather Service has the tornado possible tag. They don't have enough confidence to say, okay, this will or could produce a tornado, but it will give us the indication that the potential is there for a quick spin-up. And the tornado warning well to our east has expired, so I know Tracy was talking about that. They let that go about 15 minutes early. So that's good news for the folks east of Wobbles. But we are still dealing with a severe thunderstorm into the northern portions of Butler County here. We've been through this today several times, several different cells. Right down 79 right now from Welch's Creek east of Casey, pushing toward Welcome, or actually east of Welcome now, and Fleener at this point, Montford and Holdeville just off to your north, but Love and Lee along 411. If you live along 411, this is coming in your direction. Jessica says Nephis Road, her power's out in Butler County. Yeah, that would make sense at this point. Currently, things are still on in downtown Morgantown from our Beach Tree News Skycam, but that will continue to push off to the east here at 35 miles per hour as this severe storm works north of Morgantown. Morgantown is not in the severe thunderstorm warning. This is off to your north, Aberdeen and Jetson, and then eventually into the northwestern parts of Edmonson County. So heads up in Nash, down 185 to Big Reedy. Round Hill at this point, even Reedyville, down 185 there into the extreme eastern portions of Butler County. As you push toward Huff and Asphalt and Windyville and Bee Spring and out toward Sunfish and Sweden, that's when we'll need to keep an eye on this. And the western shores again of Nolan River Lake, which got hit, again, very hard. Tiffany out in Dexterville says she is out in, her power's out in Dexterville. Jared saying barn is down in Possum Hollow, so that's something that we will need to report that to the Weather Service here. So we have reports that some structural damage has happened. We don't have pictures of it quite yet, but folks saying that gives us an indication that maybe we had some very heavy wind move on through those portions of northern parts of Butler County over the last little bit. Adam Fleener Road, power is out, according to Sandy. We can actually turn that on. We can look and see what some of the power outages are and see if we've gotten any of that updated yet. And it doesn't look like we have any in Butler County yet, but we do over into Ohio County, just to our west. We've seen some power outages, and we've got some outages into Barron County as well. Let me switch a couple of settings here. So just bear with me here. No power at Casey, power out in Stovall near Park City. That's what we were talking about there in the portions of Barron County dealing with those outages. Again, give me just a second, and we may be able to pop. Well, I'm not sure why that's Not popping up there. All right. Well, either way, we're dealing with a few power outages into portions of Ohio County, which is just outside of Wobbles, but that storm continues to push into Wobbles, into the northern parts of Butler County, and eventually into Edmonson County as well over the next little bit. Again, tornado possible tag on this storm indicates the potential for a quick spin up. We have seen no evidence of that occurring yet, but it is something we will need to watch over the next little bit. Quarter-size hail also a possibility in an area that does not need to see any more hailstones out there. It's been a long evening, a long afternoon, and a long evening out there, so we will continue to watch this storm as it pushes into Edmonson County. Some folks asking about Edmonson County. If you are Brownsville and to the northwest, you are in this warning. So Broadway, Bee Spring, down to Lindsayville, Windyville, Huff, Sweden, Black Gold, you guys are in this warning until, again, 7:45. So we have still 40 minutes to go before this warning comes down into portions of Butler and Edmonson County. If you're further to the east, you are not in this warning. Ollie, Stockholm, Rhoda, Elko, Pig, even out toward Mammoth Cave. At this point, you are not in that warning right now. But keep in mind, the storm is pushing to the east at 35 miles per hour. So eventually, it will start to push in your direction, just not there yet. Looking at that, a flash flood emergency in place. If you were with us earlier, we were talking about the areas that storm that went just north or just south of the state line that was that at one point had produced a tornado. That area has been raked by several different very heavy thunderstorms, and that area is in a flash flood emergency. That is quite rare, and you don't see that very often. That is south of Wobbles, but it is something for our friends, if you know anybody down south of Franklin into portions of Portland, Tennessee, Springfield, Tennessee, check in on them because they are dealing with some very, very heavy rainfall and have throughout the day. Tree in the road on Adam Fleener Road, power out on Caneyville Road. And yes, it does appear we have knocked some power out with this heavy line of severe thunderstorm winds that has pushed through northern parts of Butler County and even knocked a few trees down at this point. One thing I'm going to do, I'm going to try to sample some of the power outages, and I may have to turn the tornado watch off to do that. Yeah, there we go. About 2% of the customers out into Barron County and about 4% of the customers out in Ohio County, and we haven't seen that update yet, but it is possible that in the next update we get from the power outage folks that we could be dealing with some more of those power outages into the northern parts of Butler County as well. So we are continuing to keep an eye on that potential for not only 60 mile per hour winds, which appears to have knocked out plenty of power into the northern parts of Butler County, but also the potential for hail up to the size of quarters, which, if anywhere was seeing that right now, out toward Love along 411, Love to Lee, that is where the heaviest potential for hail will be over the next few minutes or so. Pushing further to the east, Black Gold and Bee Spring, you guys are next as this continues to push off to the east at 35 miles per hour. Let's update some arrival times for the heaviest portion of this thunderstorm as it continues to push off to the east at 35 miles per hour. Love at 7:10. Subtract an hour from these. I'm not sure what the issue is there. Lee at 7:12. Big Reedy at 7:18. Sunfish at 7:24. Huff 7:25. Black Gold by 7:28. Lindsayville by 7:32. Bee Springs 7:32. And out toward Sweden by 7:33. Finally out toward Kyrock by 8:35. And this 7:35, excuse me, and this warning goes until 7:45 for the next 35 minutes or so. A lot of folks into the northern parts of Butler County saying that their power is out toward Dexterville, which again makes sense if we back things up, or at least, let's see, yeah, we'll back things up a little, and you can see that heavy gust of wind came through a few minutes ago. That really knocked out some power over the last little bit. And again, still watching intensity into the northeastern parts now of Butler County and into Edmonson County. So we've seen some trees knocked down, and we've seen some power go out with this storm in the northern parts of Butler County so far this evening. Next in line is going to be places we've talked about in Edmonson County. Huff, Black Gold, Bee Spring, first in line, Nash, Big Reedy to Round Hill, really pushing in over the next little bit or so. Here's a view from our Reed Dossey House Skycam looking kind of the other direction from Brownsville. But we should start to see things begin to move toward Brownsville over the next few minutes or so. The storms that produced hail, by the way, a little bit earlier, are continuing to produce hail further off to the east. Reports out of Greene County that they're dealing with golf ball size hail, which is not a surprise considering just how high or how large some of the hail we saw was as that pushes off to the east. That is the area of greatest focus at this point because we have the severe thunderstorm warning in place for Butler and Edmonson counties. Now, what's in Glasgow right now is not severe. The shade you see is the power outage numbers, about 2% of customers in Barron County without power. None of that is severe. There's very little lightning with that north of Glasgow, but you're likely seeing very heavy rain. More scattered showers and thunderstorms north of Scottsville, kind of pushing into the place where Simpson, Allen, and Warren counties all come together. Further to the west, out 6880 toward Russellville, and Auburn dealing with some downpours, but nothing severe, certainly. We're watching this one wave pushing through Butler County. At this point, about to push into Edmonson County. That'll continue pushing off to the east at about 35 miles per hour. That warning goes until 7:45. We've still got this next line that's on the other side of Greenville still. But if this holds together, we're talking western parts of Butler County again, northern parts of Logan County. So you get the sense here. We're not out of the woods just yet. We may not be seeing the severe weather in places like Bowling Green right now, even though we've seen it during the day. We're not done with this. Okay, let me pop things off here a little bit, clean some things up. I'm going to turn the power outages off. Those aren't updating quite as fast as I'd like them to. The whole area remains under a tornado watch until 9 o'clock tonight, and I'm not discounting the possibility that that could get extended for portions of the region. Just to our west, areas in Muhlenberg and Todd County and points off to the west are under that watch until midnight because of that next line pushing in. So, again, still scattered showers, turning into more of a clustery, rainy situation right now into portions of further off to the west. But it's what we don't want to see because we have started to see an uptick in the severe weather into portions of Butler County. Just looking at it really quickly, it looks like from Warren RECC, we've already got nearly 1,000 customers without power there, north of 70 in Butler County. That's north mostly of Morgantown, but still more than 1,000 it looks like without power, which is what folks have been telling us. So nice to get some ground truth on that from Warren RECC, where we are dealing with more than 1,000 people without power in an area that has already been hit very hard today with large hail and heavy rain and damaging winds, and now we're seeing the potential for that again. Areas Aberdeen and further back to the west, this storm is now pushing to your east. Gilstrap, Eden, Logansport, you're without power at this point. which is not good, but the rain will start to ease off here over the next little bit. The heaviest rain now pushing east along 70 toward Big Reedy, along the 185 corridor there between Big Reedy and Nash. Now you're crossing into Edmonson County at this point over the next little bit. Karen in Possum Hollow says we have damage in Possum Hollow. So if you can safely report that damage, then that is something that we would need an update on because of what we've seen. It's clear that we have had at least some level of severe weather pushing through northern parts of Butler County. Again, an area doesn't need to see it. And this apparently has done some damage and has at least knocked out power to northern portions of Butler County. And this now will continue moving into Edmonson County over the next little bit or so. So this is now crossing into the northwestern parts of Edmonson County, Nash, and Big Reedy. It's on top of you now. Shortly into Sunfish, Huff, you're next with the potential for damaging winds in excess of 60 miles per hour and hail to the size of quarters. And again, we have that tornado possible tag on this storm from the National Weather Service. We have not seen an update to this warning yet, but nothing that would tell me that anything is imminent. We have some, you normally see something like this along the interface when you're dealing with something pushing through like this, but nothing that jumps out to me as anything to be overly concerned with. But in any case, this is not something we want to mess around with. We've seen potentially some damage. We've certainly seen some power outages. More than 1,000 people without power in Butler County right now from this thunderstorm. So we have seen that potential realized in some locations so far today. And with this particular thunderstorm, after what has already been a tremendously active day that is not, by any means, over yet. So we continue. Huff, it's moving in right now. Black Gold, it's coming up here within the next 5 minutes. Bee Spring, Broadway, western shores there of Nolan Lake. We need you to be on guard for this thunderstorm because we have already seen power outages. We have seen potentially damage. We do not have visual confirmation of that to us or to the Weather Service yet, but if you can get that safely, we would like to see what we're dealing with. Sharon's saying a funnel near Lumbustown Road. There's nothing to me that would scream potential tornado here, but the environment is such that it probably wouldn't take much at this point to see even a quick spin-up. Some folks asking Morgantown. You were never under the warning, and the threat for you is past. It's to your east now as this pushes on through. Now, the National Weather Service has put a tornado possible tag on this to indicate the potential for a quick spin-up tornado, but we have not yet gotten confirmation on that at this point. Doesn't mean it's not there. Just means we have yet to see the confirmation on it. So, potentially damage, wind damage, pushing through the northwestern parts of Edmonson County right now. This will be pushing towards Brownsville over the next few minutes. We will continue to watch the possibility for more power outages into portions of Edmonson County, like we've seen in the already very hard-hit northern parts of Butler County over the last few minutes. We still have this severe thunderstorm warning. It's still in place for Butler County and Edmonson County. The main threat, I would say, is now pushing out of Butler County into Edmonson County. So I would say places back toward Dexterville, Welcome, Welch's Creek. You're maybe probably still hearing the thunder, seeing the lightning. The threat is over for you from this storm. It's not over for the night, but this storm is kind of pushing on through and is now the heaviest part, Jetson as well, out of Butler County. Edmonson County is up next. And that's why we are still here. You notice that big little uptick in lightning there when we zoomed in. That's indicating that the storm is still strong, and we are dealing with that potential as well. And yes, tornado possible tag continues on this storm until 7:45. So we have another 25 minutes on this warning as it stands right now. I'm going to put this in motion. You can see how busy it's been. Everything there in Bowling Green and Glasgow. In fact, I'm a little concerned with what's going on toward Glasgow right now. Not for any particularly severe weather, but because that storm has dumped a lot of rain on top of Glasgow. Either way, we are still watching the possibility for the severe weather into the northwestern parts of Edmonson County. And look off to the west. More strong to severe thunderstorms. They're starting to outrun that warning out there to our west, the warning that's in place for Hopkins, Muhlenberg, and Christian. We'll see if they continue to push that further to the east. You kind of see those two well, there it is. Ask and ye shall receive. So that is now bumping up again right up against the WABBLES region. Southern Butler County into northwestern parts, or far western Butler County, and now western parts of Logan County. Be on guard. We've got a severe thunderstorm heading in your direction. It's going to start to interact with a storm that's gotten going over Elkton and Russellville. That could work to enhance some of the effect. So we are continuing to watch this as we continue over the next little bit. Our severe thunderstorm warning, the only one we have in WABBLES, is still for far eastern Butler County, though I would say the heaviest threat has pushed into Edmonson County at this point, and that runs until 7:45. Everything here is still radar indicated. It's sped up a little. We're moving at 40 miles per hour. We've already heard of potential damage in northern Butler County, and we have already seen more than 1,000 power outages, at least in the Warren RECC service area, from that area north of Morgantown. We're getting a break right now in Morgantown. But, again, look off to the west. There's that next severe storm pushing through. So we've been talking about areas in Edmonson County. We don't want you to let down your guard because we are still dealing with this into northwestern Edmonson County. But here we go again. Places like Lewisburg and Eppley's and eventually over toward Chandler's Chapel. We're going to be dealing with the potential for another severe thunderstorm over the next 30 to 45 minutes. This storm is moving to the east at 45 miles per hour. So just looking at the measurement here, that puts it in WABBLES in well less than an hour. On top of the other threat, we've been talking about the potential for strong, gusty, damaging winds, and we may be seeing that right now out toward Windyville and Black Gold. You see this arcing shape? That is potentially a developing bow echo, or at least an area where the storm is pushing out more intense winds. Alicia says, tree down right above the Brooklyn Baptist Church. Again, I believe it. We could be seeing that storm trying to, again, have another push of heavy wind. Let me draw better. Despite the fact that we draw a whole lot as meteorologists, we don't really, I've never been that good at it. Here we go. Windyville, Lindsayville, Black Gold, eventually Brownsville. This is where the potential will be, the greatest potential for winds upwards of 70 miles per hour, or 60 miles per hour, excuse me. It's warned for 60 miles per hour. Wouldn't shock me if we see a gust higher than that, but I've seen no evidence of anything higher than that so far. But Lindsayville, Sweden, Kyrok, Bee Spring, it's headed in your direction. Be prepared for the power to flicker and go out. Be prepared for some at least minor wind damage as this pushes through. It sounds like we've had at least some minor wind damage in Butler County so far, and it sounds like we could be, again, seeing that as you see this storm take on a shape I'm not a huge fan of, which is starting to bow out there. That is where you see that punch of wind and very intense rain, potentially some small hail, push on through there as well. So this is headed for Brownsville. So Brownsville, you've got just a few minutes. If you're, for whatever reason, outside, you'll definitely want to head inside as this pushes on through. In fact, we can see the kind of leading edge of that on the left side of your screen here from our Reed Dossey House Skycam looking north and east. Whoa, there's some lightning there as well. Took that at a good time. But again, you see some of the trees starting to move there. In fact, yeah, I'm going to keep it here for a second because it looks like we may be getting shelf cloud pushing through there on this camera. Oh, yes. Here it comes. I mean, we switched this camera at the perfect time. Again, Brownsville right now. Black Gold, Bee Spring. Eventually out toward Sweden, Kyrok. Eventually, if this holds together, we're talking Arthur, Rhoda, Ollie, Stockholm at this point. So, again, we're watching the leading edge of this storm pushing into Brownsville at this point. And again, we'll switch it here. Yep, see some of the... I don't know if that was a power issue or if that was a just a lightning flash nearby. But, again, here's the radar. Excuse me. We will continue to see the potential for some very gusty, potentially damaging winds moving into downtown Brownsville over the next minute or so. And you can see it is almost on the doorstep. Let's look at the velocity here. And you can see nothing that is too impressive, but again, noticing some lighter colors right here indicating the potential for some higher wind gusts, at least at the level that this radar is seeing. We can look at this from a different perspective, and I'll pull while I do this, I'm going to pull the Reed Dossey House camera in Brownsville full screen because that storm is pushing in now. Tree down across the whole road, right past Brooklyn Road Baptist Church. So, again, that possibility is there that we have already seen some damage into Butler County, into Butler County and pushing through Edmonson County at this point. So, again, we need to watch this area. I'm watching this camera as this storm moves into Brownsville in case there's anything on the leading edge that we need to be concerned with as this pushes in over the next couple of minutes or so. We've talked a lot about the damaging wind and hail threat, and that does exist with this storm, definitely, as it pushes into Butler County. One thing we haven't talked a ton about that I think we do need to start talking about, with as much heavy rain as we've seen and the orientation of these storms as they continue to push off from from west to east, we need to talk about the potential for flooding. Again, flash flood warnings to our west, that's Todd County, that's Christian County, that's Trigg County. To our south, a flash flood emergency south of Franklin and Adairville into northern Middle Tennessee, north of Nashville, where they saw several storms train. We've seen several storms do what we call training today. We're watching it right now. The same storms with very heavy rain pushing over the same area. We need to be on guard for the potential for some flooding as well. Low water crossings, your creeks and streams, we need to keep a very close eye on those as we head through the next little bit. Even another flash flood emergency into portions of a little closer to the Nashville metro. I'm not completely up on my Nashville metro geography, but again, there you see some of the lightning in the distance. We pushed that area through Brownsville. At least it would appear at this point that we've pushed the leading edge through Brownsville, and that will continue as we watch sheets of heavy rain push through downtown Brownsville from our Reed Dossey House Skycam at this hour. And again, very heavy rain, the potential for some gusts in excess of 60 miles per hour. that remains possible as we head over the next little bit or so. And again, we're watching the Reed Dossey House Skycam in Brownsville as that storm pushes on through. We've seen some lightning flashes. They've come up a little bit over the last little bit. That's starting to flatten out a little bit, which is a good sign. It's almost outrun the warning, so it is speeding up. This warning was issued originally for the potential for winds to 60 and going through 7:45. Well, it's 7:30, and the heaviest part of this storm is pushing out of the warning. So the Weather Service quickly has a decision to make. Do we extend this warning further to the east? That would encompass parts of the rest of Edmonson County and the northern parts of Barron County and into the adjacent parts of Hart County. But do we just go with a special weather statement? I would say be prepared for another warning to be issued for the rest there of northern Edmonson County, Rhoda, probably north of Rhoda, out toward Arthur, and definitely in the Mammoth Cave area. That's where we need to watch for the potential for 60-mile-per-hour winds, hail to the size of quarters. This storm is quickly outrunning this warning, so it is speeding up at this time, and we continue to watch out to the west. More storms continuing to push on in. At this point, I've got the Reed Dossey House camera up as well, seeing some very heavy rain. The wind's not gusting too bad in downtown Brownsville, but keeping an eye on it there. You see that right above my head in the panel there. So we'll probably see an update here from the Weather Service here shortly as this continues to push through. Watching storms out to the west at this point continuing to be an issue into portions of Todd and Muhlenberg County, and yes, those will be moving back into WABBLES here shortly into Logan County and western Butler County. We have a severe thunderstorm warning that comes right up to the border of Butler County, right up to the border of Logan County, so we are not finished with this yet, and this is a big-time sign that we could be looking at plenty of flooding as we head through the nighttime hours. Not just the potential for damaging winds and heavy rain, though we do have that. It's the potential for quite a bit of flooding as well. Caleb said sirens went off in Adair and Russell County. That's east of our area, but that made sense. They were briefly under a tornado warning for about 15 minutes, about half an hour to 45 minutes ago. That warning was let go about half an hour ago, so no more issues out there. We have not seen anything on radar that would indicate that we had anything like that in WABBLES. However, some folks were saying, we saw a funnel cloud. We've not confirmed that. It sounds like a lot of trees down on Brooklyn Church Road and near the Brooklyn area in the western parts of Butler County. We briefly lost the Reed Dossey House camera. Looks like it's back, and looks like, yep, it's back. Making sure we didn't lose power or anything. Maybe briefly interrupted the data signal. Just looking at a couple of other sources here at these storms pushing in. And there is our new severe thunderstorm warning, and this runs for much of the area. So the rest of Edmonson County, a very small sliver of Warren County. I mean, a very small sliver of Warren County. We've taken the tornado possible tag off of this, but watching maybe an extension of that. This heavy area of wind potentially down toward Gherkin and areas towards Smiths Grove. This is a very small part of Warren County, so you may be popping up on your phone or something into Warren County severe thunderstorm warning. This does not include Bowling Green. This does not include Smiths Grove even. It doesn't include Rockville, Plano, anywhere close to the city of Bowling Green, really, at this point. But northern Barron County, just north of downtown Glasgow in this warning, and also the adjacent parts of Grayson and Hart County, and a very small sliver of the adjacent part there of Metcalfe County, which is just outside of our area as well. At least we finally got that storm to push on out into areas north of Edmonton there in Metcalfe County, because it looked like we were dumping some very heavy rain on top of Glasgow and Oil City and Cave City and Heistville as well, as we continue to push that off to the east, just north there of the Cumberland Parkway into Metcalfe County, but that is outside of our area. Our new severe thunderstorm warning takes us through 8 o'clock for the rest of Edmonson County and northern parts of Barron County. That's our first. They ended up clearing off that first warning because it was out of the first warning. So Butler County, your severe thunderstorm warning for now has expired, but we are watching a very heavy severe thunderstorm pushing east of Brownsville right now and pushing into the eastern portions of Edmonson County. So Arthur, Rhoda, Collegiate, this is headed in your direction over the next, it's right on top of you, really. Pig, Cedar Spring, Elko, and eventually out toward the entrance to Mammoth Cave, at least, pushing on through over the next 5 to 10 minutes. This is moving to the east at, it's sped up. It was originally at 35, it then was 40, and now it is moving at still 40. So 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, hail to the size of quarters, a possibility with this storm as it continues to push off to the east and a little south of east. So we took it through Edmonson County. It's almost through Edmonson County. Now we need to take it through northern parts of Barron County. The heaviest part of this storm is likely going to clip Glasgow, but we're talking areas mostly north of Glasgow. So that's Heistville, that's Cave City, that's Park City, Oil City, Goodnight, Lecta, Coral Hill, Highland Springs, out toward Bear Wallow, which is right on that, right on the line there between Hart and Barron counties as well. We're going to focus here on the Barron County part of this storm. We don't really cover Hart County. That's not officially in our coverage area, our WABBLES area: Warren, Allen, Barron, Butler, Logan, Edmondson, and Simpson. That's our official coverage area, but of course these warnings will encompass more than just our counties, and that's what we're seeing here with parts of Hart County and a very small part of Grayson County as well. It's on the other side of Edmonson County. So we have reports of more than 1,000 people without power into portions of Butler County, northern Butler County, north of Morgantown. And the storm that caused this, and it sounds like caused quite a bit of damage, at least some damage, near the Brooklyn area of Butler County, pushing on through Edmonson County at this point, and will continue to push into Barron County over the next little bit. So let's put a track on this real quick. Remember, subtract an hour from these times. I'm not sure why things are being a little funky with the tracking tool, but let's push this to the east at 40 miles per hour, at least the heaviest part of this storm. Elko by 7:43, that's in 5 minutes or so. Network delay. Mammoth Cave by 7:46. Highland Springs by 7:53. Cave City on your doorstep by 7:57, just before the top of the hour at 8 o'clock. Horse Cave, that's just outside of our area, into Hart County by 8 o'clock, just after. Griderville by 8:06. Heistville by 8:10. Seymour by 8:10 as well. So we're going to be taking the heaviest part of this storm on right along the Barron and Hart County lines, essentially. So we'll continue to watch that. I'm also continuing to watch, not me accidentally putting another track on things, but more development. Just what we don't want to see is more development south and west. Still a severe thunderstorm. That is about to move into southern Butler County. So we just cleared northern Butler County out of a severe thunderstorm warning. Let's pop another one in to the southern part of Edmonton, or to the southern part of Butler County, and again the northwestern part of Logan County that had a severe thunderstorms and tornado warnings earlier on today. So we are definitely dealing with quite a bit of severe weather still to go, and part of it we see this little Boeing segment. That's why we've come back on, and that's why we stay on until we can get this cleared out of our area. That is a push of heavy wind, and it sounds like with the potential of up to 60-mile-per-hour winds, we have seen that in northern parts of Butler County. So earlier today, we had hail to the size of, well, in some cases, ping pong balls, hen eggs, even some isolated baseballs out there. At least some very large lime-size hail was another one. So that was round 1, I suppose. Round 2 just moved through with heavy rain. It knocked out power north of Morgantown. And that area continues to punch. I'm used to cameras being in different places. Punch to the east and is now east of Brownsville and continues to push on into the northern parts of Barron County. So our folks in Glasgow, the heaviest part of this is going to go to your north. Oil City, you're in the warning, but you're right on the edge. And we'll continue to see that push off to the east. I know some folks maybe got the alert on their phone or were looking and said, severe thunderstorm warning for Warren County. Yes, technically, but you see here, it's a very small part of Warren County. This does not even include Smiths Grove. You're getting the kind of brush by on this in Smiths Grove. But none of what is currently pushing through and developing in Warren County is severe. At least the southern part of the county. If you're in Rockfield, if you're in Alvaton, Woodburn, Plano, Rich Pond, Greenwood, that's where we're getting some heavy rain. Nothing here is severe, but that is pushing back toward WKU's campus and downtown Bowling Green and eventually up toward Plum Springs. Back to the west, heavy rain. Not a lot of lightning with this. Into the northern parts of Logan County, Eppley's. There's a name you've heard today, Cooperstown, Chandler's Chapel, and Gasper. North of Auburn, that's going to push to the north in toward Insco and Lewisburg over the next little bit. And then out to the west, more storms. And you notice these storms, there's a difference here. So this storm, shaped kind of like a backward C, and it's punching ahead. It's moving at 40 and trying to clear the area. These storms out to the west, basically from, let's say, Greenwood, toward Russellville, toward Elkton, back toward Hopkinsville, back towards Cadiz, even back toward Benton. You notice they're lined up east to west, west to east, and they're moving east and very slowly southeast. That's a problem because there is tremendous rain with this. That's the threat we need to talk about as well, is the threat for some flooding. Because again, these areas have already seen quite a bit of rain, and we're going to add quite a bit more rain on top of that. You may notice that little blue box pop up into portions of, well, basically all of Logan County, including Russellville. That is a special weather statement that is short of a severe thunderstorm warning. We're not looking at hail there, but winds up to 50 and torrential rainfall pushing on through. Alexis asking, why is no one talking about what just went through Collegiate? Well, we were. We continue to watch that cell as it pushes to the east. That is very heavy wind. That is a severe thunderstorm continuing to push to the east. I'm just saying, we're covering our 7 counties, and these 7 counties are seeing different threats at this moment. The more immediate threat, I will grant you, is that storm that just went through, is currently going through eastern Edmonson County and about to push into northern Barron County. And again, the heaviest part of this storm is going to straddle the Barron-Hart County line. So much of this is going to go north of Glasgow. And even folks further south, Haywood, Austin, Red Cross 88, this one isn't a concern for you. What's off to the west could eventually build in and bring us that heavy rain threat. So Judy's asking about Russellville. Nothing is severe in Russellville right now, but you're likely seeing some very gusty winds, some very heavy rain, and a lot of thunder and lightning. That's going to be the calling card with these storms as we head through the nighttime hours. And what makes me concerned, obviously we have the very strong winds that are pushing into Park City and Cave City over the next couple of minutes, but also training of thunderstorms. I'll put this in motion. It is a very messy picture out here. We have flash flood warnings from basically west of Wobbles and south of Wobbles at this point. And would you look at that? More storms, at least trying to get going, east of Clarksville. They're not having a great time of it so far because even with we're finally starting to kind of use up a whole lot of that energy that we had a little bit earlier on today. We had a lot of storm fuel out there. But we're not done. Again, we have this whole line to go through before we are done and dusted with this. So this is not done by any means. We may catch a little bit of a break once we get this cluster through that's about to move into portions of Logan County and southern Warren County. We'll definitely get a break from the severe winds once we get this storm on the other side of Barron County. Once we get that on into Metcalfe and Greene County, we can let up a little bit for a little bit. But again, still a severe thunderstorm warning west of Butler County. Kayla's asking about the storm coming into Butler County and in the Dimple area. So this storm, I wouldn't say is severe in Muhlenberg County, just to your west. But we need to watch how these storms orient themselves. This is going to become the story into the overnight. You see, these storms are lining up east to west, and they're moving east. That is a recipe for flooding. Flash flooding at the very least. And the rises on the creeks and streams. Gasper River, Barron River. We're going to have to watch these things. The Green River. Drake's Creek. We're going to have to watch all of this over really the night. We may be outside of the big-time heavy wind threat for at least a little bit when this storm finally pushes east of Glasgow. But we're not done yet. Sorry to say. We will be eventually. Oh, by the time we head into tomorrow morning, we are done with all this nonsense. But it's still out there. Heaviest portion of wind now coming into Park City, Stovall, Goodnight. Pushing your way across 31W into the northwestern parts of Barron County. Crossing 90 here within the next minute or so. Severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect for these areas. The threat for damaging winds in excess of 60 miles per hour, along with hail to the size of hail to the size of quarters. We still have a quarter-size hail on that. I wouldn't take that to the bank at this point. I don't think we're dealing with large hail. We're not dealing with anything we saw earlier. We haven't heard of any of that. But we still need to keep an eye on the wind threat. I think that's the bigger threat. We got hundreds, if not at least 1,000 people without power in northern parts of Butler County. In fact, let me switch things here. You may see a flash or two on the screen as we work through things here. 1 second, and you know how to use a browser, sir. And there's our flood advisory extended through 11 o'clock for Allen, Logan, and Simpson counties. So we will continue to see very heavy rain push through. Sorry, just a lot of stuff happened there at once. Nothing significant, but you know, you get those notifications popping up. You don't know which one to look at. Anyway, just 1 second. I'm pulling something up here on the backside. Cave City, Park City, Goodnight, Heisville, heading in your direction at this point. So in the Warren RACC service area, I just have the map in front of me. I don't think I have an easy way to pull it up without looking a little janky. We have about 1,200 out in Butler County. We have about 30 people out in Edmonson County. We have Oh, one customer out in Bowling in Warren County that's in the Warren RECC area. That is just unfortunate. And then Simpson County, we have 11 customers out of power. But the big story here in terms of power outages is Butler County. We have about 1,200 people, which is about 19.2% of Warren RECC's Butler County customers without power right now. A lot of folks checking in, like we talked about, in Bowling Green with, you saw maybe your phone went off, severe thunderstorm warning for Warren County. Is a very small part of Warren County at this point, and that's far northeastern Warren County. What is in Bowling Green right now is not severe, but it is very heavy, and I think that is the threat we transition to over the next little bit, is going to be the threat for some flooding overnight. We got to get this storm. We're not going to hop off, at the very least, until this storm gets to the other side of the Barron and Metcalfe County line. So we're going to be with you here for a little bit. Park City, Cave City, Oil City, pushing through now. North of Glasgow, Coral Hill and Goodnight, Stovall, pushing through right now. The potential is there for winds 50 to 60 miles per hour. We've seen, or at least we've heard, of some potential damage in the northern parts of Butler County. We've also heard of we talked about the 1,200 people without power in Butler County from this particular thunderstorm. Looks like potentially we could be seeing that weaken a little bit, but I am not letting my guard down yet. Sorry, just checking a few things, make sure we didn't get any other pictures. Several people want us to visit their bio, and now is not the time for that at all. It is the time to remember flood safety and high wind safety. Of course, we hope if you're into portions of northern Barron County right now that you are obviously indoors, away from windows. This is not a tornado warning. We don't see any indication of that happening, but it's still wise when a severe thunderstorm is moving through. In fact, there's really not a whole lot of lightning with that. The lightning is up into portions of Hart County. So, yeah, we have the special weather statement just coming out. So this is not being warned yet, at least at this moment, for heavy, for damaging winds. But, and I wonder, yeah, okay, this will be for this storm. So, okay, sorry, a hydro discussion just came out from the... Never seen that before. Lifelong learning, it's fun. Continuing to watch this, we are at 7:53. Michael asking, was there a funnel cloud? Some folks saying there was a funnel cloud spotted. We don't know of that. And some good news. We're going to let that severe thunderstorm warning go. In fact, it's gone. That expired at, I lost my timing, 8? It's going to go to 8. Okay, well, that's good news. So we have let that warning expire for... mainly into Barron County is where the bulk of this is going to be, at least in WABBLES. This statement also includes Hart County and Metcalfe County, which is outside of WABBLES. Just checking the statement here from the Weather Service. They've said they're going to expire it. They've not issued a new statement on that. The statement you see here, this blue box, that is the special weather statement. That is the, if we see that happen before a warning, it is the precursor to a warning. But we are currently, at this moment, not seeing any severe weather. But we are seeing strong thunderstorms push through. Northern Barron County, winds to 50 and hail to the size of Nichols. I believe .88 is Nichols. gets a little hazy because for a long time, the hail size that you needed for a severe thunderstorm, yeah, 7/8, that's nickel size. For a long time, you needed just penny size hail to go severe, and then about 15 years ago, they made it quarter size. But yes, nickel size hailstones potential with this storm. We haven't seen a whole lot of hail with this pushing on to the east. I do like the fact that the warning has expired, but we really need to watch the heavy rain potential overnight. Again, you notice these storms are lining up west to east from Bowling Green to Paducah, and they are moving east with extremely heavy rain. As a matter of fact, let's see. In the last hour, these storms have dropped nearly 2 inches of rain. Radar indicated potentially nearly 2 inches of rain west of our area in an hour. And these storms are not moving a whole lot north or south. So I think that is, again, something we need to watch very closely. Some folks asking, not currently severe? No, we have no severe thunderstorm warnings, or for that matter, tornado warnings or flash flood warnings in place for Wobbles right now. We still do have a tornado watch in place for another hour or so. The tornado watch to our west goes until midnight. The tornado watch for us goes until 9 o'clock. We will see what the Weather Service decides to do about that, but currently we have no severe weather. We still have the potential for very heavy rain. Gordonsville, Whippoorwill, Russellville. Poet could make a good poem out of that. Auburn, up 6880 toward Rockfield. South of downtown Bowling Green, as a matter of fact. Again, I'm not seeing a whole lot of lightning with that, but I will switch things up a tad. And we'll bring, let's see, switch our cameras about. There's the view. You see it. You're still seeing lightning from the Reed Dossey House camera in Brownsville. I'm going to switch the Morgantown camera over to our White Squirrel Weather Nest cam overlooking Bowling Green. Looking south now, that's, well, we're a little out of focus, but what you're seeing there, that's looking south, so that's going to be, whoa! That was a nice lightning flash. Took the camera even more out of focus because it's nighttime. But you're looking south, the little red light in the tower, that is Pierce Ford Tower, PFT, the dorm on the campus of WKU. Watching heavy rain push into Bowling Green at this point. Again, at this moment, nothing is severe. If we keep this trend up for at least a little bit, we're going to hop off for at least a little bit, reset a touch, just because we don't have the non-stop severe weather we had a couple of hours ago. Earlier this afternoon, we had lots of severe weather. We have seen severe weather since we've been on, and we still have to get this little squall here through portions of Barron County. So Glasgow was not in the warning. However, now that the warning's expired, you are well within the special weather statement. So winds to 50 miles per hour and into hail to the size of nickels, a possibility as we work through the next, they technically put no, they don't. Forgetting my mixing up my products, they do not, well, sort of, through 8:15, so through the next 15 minutes or so. Moving east at 40, again, tree limbs. We could see some more trees knocked down. I know we had some reports of some trees knocked down into portions of Butler County about 30, 45 minutes ago, and it makes sense. Even if we weren't realizing the 60-mile-per-hour gusts right to the ground, it has been so wet today that it wouldn't shock me if it doesn't take quite as much to knock trees down as 60-mile-per-hour damaging winds. Heavy, heavy rain on top of Russellville right now. Perhaps a little pulse near Auburn. Likely some thunder and lightning, maybe a little hail northwest of Auburn, north of 6880, between Auburn and Chandler's Chapel. The storm that was severe in Muhlenberg and Todd counties kind of pushed and is almost trying to merge with this training line of storms in Logan County near Russellville. So while we're not seeing severe weather in Russellville, we are dealing with very heavy rain, and I think that's going to be the calling card for part of the area for part of the night. But again, we still have all of this to go through. Eventually, this will try to sink further to the south. Again, working it to the west, Bowling Green to Russellville, to Elkton to Hopkinsville, back to Benton, back to Paducah and Mayfield, dealing with that whole line. Already flash flood warnings from Katie's to the WABBLES line, essentially. Once you cross into Logan County, you cross into Weather Chicken territory. Whether or not WABBLES region, Warren, Allen, Barron, Butler, Logan, Edmonson, Simpson, pushing to the east there as well. And again, watching that area near Auburn could pulse up a little bit. Some folks asking about Bowling Green. Right now, no severe weather in Bowling Green. You're likely seeing lightning, hearing thunder, but we're not dealing with ongoing severe weather. The closest thing we have to that is up north of Glasgow, north of the highway there at 6880. Kind of you get into that region and you start Highway 80 and then the Cumberland Parkway pushing into Metcalfe County. My concern for this is for 50-mile-per-hour winds right now. This storm did cause wind damage. For those of you just hopping on, maybe, this storm did cause wind damage. It would appear some trees down at least into Butler County and knocked out power in Butler County. But we are almost shifting this closer to kind of a flood threat. And the rain here is heavy, especially north of Corinth there near Dennis, right just south of 6880 there. That's where we have to watch for some very heavy rain, maybe some small hail there. That storm is flagged for hail to the size of quarter inch. Not quarters, quarter inch, which is not large, but again, we could see some uptick in that as well. That's pea size, by the way. Outages. Well, we got power back on to the customer, the Warren RECC customer that was without power in Warren County, so that's good news. We, however, still have about 1,200 people, especially in northern Butler County, without power right now, north of downtown Morgantown. Especially near Welch's Creek, up near and east of Brooklyn, where it seems like we had quite a bit of heavy rain, or quite a bit of potentially heavy wind that pushed through. So, let's see here. About 19% of Warren RECC's customers in Butler County without power right now. How's Morgantown looking for the rest of the night? Again, we're going to need to watch and see where this area sets up from Russellville to Hopkinsville. There's no severe weather there right now, but we are dealing with very heavy rain, and that could be a calling card through the night, is very heavy rain. That could lead to significant flooding into portions of the area. We've already seen quite a bit of rain. In fact, bear with me here. Producing on the fly. Let's go to the weather, the Mesonet maps. Go to precipitation and 24-hour precipitation. Jamie's saying Glasgow, heavy winds, rain, and lightning. Makes sense. That storm right on top of Glasgow. This was previously severe, not currently. But think about this. The Russellville Mesonet site has already gotten 1.29 inches of rain today. Just in the last 24 hours. This is since 8 o'clock last night. The Elkton, just west of our area, the Elkton site's got an inch and a half. Nicole, the crack of thunder in Bowling Green a minute ago was extremely loud. Yeah, the white squirrel camera, shout out to Dr. Durkee, always, but shout out to Dr. Durkee and his masterful movement of this camera today. Has seen quite a bit of lightning on that camera. But yes, we have already seen in the last 24 hours more than an inch of rain in some of these spots. The Scottsville site, which is just north of Scottsville, 1.41. The Warren County sites haven't seen as much. Now, nearly an inch and a half at the northern site, nearly an inch and a half at the site west of Glasgow, which is right on the Warren-Barron County line. So we've already seen in the last 24 hours quite a bit of rain. And now we're adding to that. Very heavy rainfall rates. Auburn to Russellville to Elkton, back to Hopkinsville. Hopefully we can get this to start moving south, but even then we can't really say that because they already have flash flood emergencies in place across portions of northern Middle Tennessee. In fact, if you know folks that are I should know my northern Middle Tennessee county, Sumner and Robertson counties, through 10 o'clock, water rescues, dangerous flooding. It is a PDS flash flood emergency. That is something that is very rarely ever issued. It's not in effect for any of our counties, but it is in effect just to our south. Areas that got hit, not dissimilar to some of our areas. Now, learn how to speak, sir. Some of the areas that are getting hit now with very heavy rain. Flash flood emergency also for southern Sumner County, Hendersonville, and Gallatin, Tennessee through 10:30. Water rescues in Hendersonville, Tennessee. Again, flash flood emergency. The Weather Service does not use words like emergency lightly. Okay, so check in with your folks down there into Hendersonville, Gallatin, up into Portland and Springfield. Very heavy rain earlier today. New special weather statement for that little area near Auburn, right on top of Auburn. Chase says heavy rain, nasty lightning in Auburn. That storm is close to severe limits. Eastern side of Russellville, eastern Logan County, most of Simpson County, southern Warren County, with that special weather statement through 8:30 for about 20 minutes or so. Strong thunderstorm near Russellville, moving east at 30. So again, very slowly moving to the east, but again, we're watching the flooding concerns as this continues to push to the east. This is going to be an issue, I think, overnight. You see me look up. That is where there's more lightning. And you see me look up. That is I've got another monitor up here that's got the Weather Service chat on it. So I'm looking up. I'm not looking. I guess technically I am looking heavenward, but it's more for looking at some Weather Service products. So this was the discussion, the area hydrological discussion. The National Water Center in Tuscaloosa issued this a little while ago for really the whole region. It's not just local to our area. But they say the threat for flooding impacts and the potential for locally considerable impacts will only increase as thunderstorms producing heavy rainfall persist in the area of concern through early tomorrow morning. This activity has a history of producing heavy rainfall and significant flooding impacts, and the combination of primed antecedent conditions, we're talking about the heavy rain we've had so far, just today, Intense rainfall rates, training and persistent rainfall, and complex terrain will allow for all flooding modes to be possible, and additional significant flooding impacts are likely to occur. Are likely where the highest rainfall totals occur. So, again, we'll have to watch for that. Hail in Auburn. Sorry, I'm just looking at a couple of things here. Oh, that's some of the very severe hail from earlier today. Again, heavy rain. And again, some reports of hail in Auburn. Now, we don't need to see any more hail. In any case, continuing, some light hail near Auburn, power out on Antioch Road near Three Corners. Rochester had 2 to 3 inch hail earlier today. Aberdeen, golf ball size hail. Yeah, we saw plenty of it. Sorry. You'd think in this business I'd have learned how to type and talk at the same time, but I have not. Either way, still dealing with the heavy wind there. Potential 50-mile-per-hour wind. That is heading toward Echo, which is just outside of Wobbles. Okay. New tornado watch. 8 UTC. That's going to be 3. Save me. Trying to remember my Z time. It's 4 hours Eastern Daylight, 5 hours. I'm just looking at it and trying to get the latest. It does look like we have a new tornado watch coming out for at least part of the area to replace the watch that is expiring. So we'll at least get you through that. And we'll see. But it looks like a new tornado watch on the way for that next round moving through. That's kind of why that tornado watch was issued to our west. And it looks like moving through. Oh, it could be Tennessee, that watch. Let's see. The way watches are issued. All right, we'll keep an eye on that. Oh, there it is. Thank you, Landon, who is just taking a breather after basically running a marathon earlier today. So the tornado watch does not include any of Wobbles. So at this moment, the tornado watch is set to expire at 9 o'clock, which is in about 45 minutes. 47 if we're being technical about it. So we still have the greatest threat a little bit to our south. But again, heaviest of the wind pushing into Metcalfe County. Watching that cell near Auburn that will push into northern parts of Simpson County, near South Union. That's right on the border. Into mainly near Turnertown, Salmons. Pushing to the east and the southeast. These storms are moving very slowly. But at this point, nothing is severe. And still, the tornado watch is set to expire at 9 o'clock. So that was a bit of an ill-founded worry there. So folks asking about Russellville. Again, Russellville, heavy rain. Nothing is severe. They're not even under a statement right now. Okay, the eastern side of town is, but you get the point. It's for that cell near Auburn. I think we're transitioning more to a flooding threat overnight. Can we get some damaging winds? Yes. Can we get the potential for tornadoes? The conditions are still there, but I would say we have worked over our atmosphere quite a bit. So I think the tornado threat we'd be looking at overnight is more of the, at least for our region, probably more of the spin-up type than the big supercell type like they had, like we've seen in Tennessee today. Either way, keep the guard up as we head through the overnight. Even at some point we hop off here, we're going to have to keep watch on the potential for more heavy rain, mainly heavy rain, I would say. And we'll continue to kind of push the last of that out of Barron County here, and we will again take a breather because we have nothing severe in place right now. We still have that statement there into portions of Simpson County and Warren County. That's come down in intensity over the next little bit, so we'll hop off here in a few minutes. But again, we need to watch the flooding potential heading through the overnight with what's moving through, especially the southwestern parts of Wabbles, from Bowling Green through Logan County. We need to watch this for flooding overnight. If we can get that to push to the south, at least some areas that haven't seen as much rain, we're going to be in better shape. We don't want it to push too far south because we already have water rescues that have happened into the northern parts of Sumner and Robertson counties tonight in Tennessee, and then further back to the west where flash flood warnings remain in place. West of Wabbles, wouldn't be shocked if we eventually get one. We have several flood advisories in place, and we remain in the moderate excessive rainfall outlook. That is the flooding version of an SPC outlook, but the whole region remains moderate there. Some folks asking about Woodbury, Butler County, Lewisburg, Dunmore there, and Butler and Logan counties. Lewisburg, Dunmore, technically they're right on the border of Muhlenberg and Logan County. This area is probably going to stay to your south. You'll probably hear the thunder, see the lightning. The heaviest of the rain is to the south, and eventually we'll start to move that to the south. We still have that other boundary to watch for into the overnight. That was the expanded watch, by the way, was back out into places like Nashville, Jackson, Tennessee. But again, this still has to work through before we are completely done. Look out toward Evansville. Very strong cells still out here. Carrier Mills. Look at the Bow Echo moving through Mount Carmel, Illinois, crossing south of Vincennes, Indiana. Still some to go tonight, but the environment is much less conducive for severe weather as you head further north of the parkways, and eventually we'll start to ease that out. But again, we'll have to watch tonight for the potential for some flooding. Still some isolated pockets of heavy rain, a potential tonight. Looks like we've finally gotten that push of the heaviest wind over toward Edmonton outside of our area.